So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are coming through what we saw on match day 5 of the championship. It is the last match week before the first international break. So we've now got a little bit of a break from football, but there'll also be just a very tiny break on the channel as well. I'll still be uploading, but it won't be as consistent. As you know, it is my birthday this week, so I won't be uploading too much on this channel in the next 1 week or 2 weeks or so, but I'll still put content out there, don't you worry about that. And if you're wondering how the Lexalexus Football Prediction League is looking like, this is what the Championship League is looking like. We've got a new leader. Johnny Burrow is the new leader. JR 2010 forgot to predict their games for this weekend, so it has blown the competition wide open. I'm now up to 4th with a brilliant game week, 12 correct scores, because I got 3 correct scores and 3 correct outcomes as well. Well done to James Macy as well for also getting 12 points. And this is what the Lexalexus Football Prediction League 1 table looks like. Football Weather, a brand new member in this league, picking up 5 points on his first week of predicting. But if you guys like what we see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. If you've not hit that subscribe button, please do so if you do want to see some regular championship and football content. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All that really helps. But without any further ado, let's cover for what we saw on match day 5 of the championship. So we've got the 2 derbies to go on first. We'll go through the 7-side derby first, as Bristol City spoiled Cardiff's momentum once again, picking up a 2-1 away victory. That's the 3rd consecutive time that Bristol City have beaten Cardiff away from home in this derby. And I don't know why I didn't really think of backing them, because it would have made sense. I did say in my predictions that Bristol City are actually playing much better away from home than they are at home at the moment. All of their points, in fact, pretty much majority of their points so far have come from away games. I mean, the possessions would tell you that they were a team in the back foot, but they really weren't. Andre Weidman scoring 2 fantastic goals, especially his second one. I mean, it's probably going to be my goal for weekend, and I'll show you guys what it was. Masengo did a brilliant back heel pass to find Semenyo. Semenyo with a pin-perfect cross, and Weidman with a powerful volley. I mean, it was an unbelievable teamwork goal, but it ended at the highest of quality, and that turned out to be the winning goal. Possession-wise, Cardiff actually out-possessed Bristol City, which you don't see often. You don't see Cardiff often get more of the ball, which I think was a really big problem. I think Bristol City limited Cardiff the way they wanted to play. Bristol City, with those 2 wins now, they're now up to 11th. Cardiff, with their first defeat of the season, they fall down to 9th. It's not been an awful start for Cardiff's point, but they definitely need to try and limit those games as much as they can and make sure that they prevent teams not playing the way they want to play, because when Cardiff play the way they want to play, they are unbeatable. But their kryptonite is if they have to try and break teams down. Cardiff are not a creative team in that sense. And now we see Nottingham Forest pick up their first point of the season with a 1-1 draw against Derby. This was one of the scores I did get correct. Now, would I determine that being a deserved result? I think over the 90 minutes potentially. I think Derby in that first half were a lot better. There were a couple of very controversial decisions not going anyone's way. One for Nottingham Forest's way, it looked like Craig Forsyth may have stood on Philip Zinkernagel at one stage, and that has gone unpunished entirely. But there was also a handball decision that went against Derby's way. Potentially, they should have had a penalty when Joe Worrell potentially handled the ball in the box. So there was plenty of controversial decisions. Derby took the lead. It was a brilliant set-up goal. Tom Lawrence with his return to injury making a terrific impact. As soon as I saw him play, I thought he could be the difference here. And I thought he did make the difference originally. A brilliantly taken goal. Guyton Bong's defending, no. Nothing to be desired about. Ball watched the ball for too long. Tried to rely on the offside trap. Didn't work. Committing too many crimes in the defending field there. Just simply wasn't quick enough to catch Tom Lawrence. That made it 1-0 to Derby. But he'll be seen forgiven for the fact he actually assisted Nottingham Forest's equaliser. It was a cross in the 82nd minute, and it finds Brennan Johnson, who has scored 2 of Nottingham Forest's 4 goals they've scored so far this season. He's proven to be a very important player for this Forest side at the moment. I think Kelly Reece should have done a bit better from that, but Brennan Johnson wouldn't care. It's gone on to Forest his first point. I think there will still be pressure on Chris Hughton, but it does relieve some of it. As with Derby, potentially throwing away a couple of points again. You know, we've seen it so many times with Derby taking the lead, but then throwing it away. We'll see if that can actually affect them long term. But the fact they've picked up quite a fair few points first, if they keep up their momentum and now they've got a break to recover from injuries, we'll see if Derby can then kick on and maybe recover. Then to another score I got correct. Barnsley 1, Birmingham 1. Now, looking at the highlights, I think Birmingham would feel quite bereaved that they didn't get a win for this game because they did create a lot. And I've got to say, the only reason why I didn't say that because I just thought Barnsley would be able to shut them down a little bit. And to be fair, what a goal to start things off from Callum Styles, right in the top right corner inside the D. You can't get a better quality goal than that, ever. I mean, it was an unbelievable goal, wasn't it? That made it 1-0. But Birmingham, fair play to them, they fought back. The defending from Barnsley, though, really not been great at all. But Jukovic powering on, really showing that desire to get to the ball, then smashing the ball into the net, making it 1-1. And when you look at chances, definitely Birmingham had more. They had double as more shots on target. They doubled as more shots overall as well. Chuck Seneke will be wondering how he didn't score at one point as well. It's literally 2 yards out, and then he literally had his shot come off the post. So yeah, Birmingham definitely having the better chances and creating more meaningful opportunities. Barnsley maybe riding their luck a little bit, but they have picked up another draw, Barnsley. It's their 3rd draw this season so far, Barnsley, but only 1 win in 5. I think Marcus Schopp needs to try and turn these draws into win. And it's another example of them taking the lead and throwing it away. That's the 2nd consecutive game where that's happened now. As with Birmingham, they're up to 8th right now, which I would not have expected at the start of the season, but players like Sunjis, Taif Chong, they're all working very, very well for this team. I think if you definitely win the midfield battle, you definitely have a chance to win the game. And I think that midfield is incredibly strong. Just a backbone, which I think Birmingham have been missing for so long now. Then I think this game answered the question everyone needed to know. I think Fulham are going to storm the league. I mean, they beat Stoke by 3-0. Stoke were a team that were unbeaten before they got to this game. But Fulham just were comprehensively better. 20 shots they had, 9 shots on target. Even Stoke's chances, they didn't really trouble Gazaniga at all. I mean, Harry Wilson scored in the 5th minute. It was brilliant play actually in the left-hand side. Brilliant teamwork between Reed and Mitrovic to lead to that goal. It really was one-way traffic for Fulham. They really could score more. I mean, Mitrovic had a penalty. I mean, if that went in, that would have been 2 goals for Mitrovic, which would have taken him to the lead of a Golden Boot race. But he missed it. It was a really poor penalty. But Bursic redeemed himself for him originally conceding the penalty. In terms of Stoke, I mean, it just didn't really have the same intimidation that they have. They didn't really dictate the game. They didn't have too much success going forward. And I think what Fulham showed is that they just had so much more confidence and quality going forward. And I do think the amount they have spent, I think a lot of pressure is on Fulham to try and win the league. And right now, they're looking very confident and very comfortable. But now it's that expectation and now it's maintaining it. As with Stoke, I hope this defeat doesn't really set them back because honestly, they've had a really, really good start to the season minus this game. And what an incredible turnaround this has been for Huddersfield Town. 2 games in when they lost 5-1 to Fulham, I really wrote them off. But right now, they've won 3 consecutive games in a row. The last time that has happened was in their promotion season under David Wagner. 8 shots on target and Reading to only have 1 shot on target, which was, I think, from Junior Hoyle. Not good at all for Reading. But Huddersfield, they had 1 player who really stepped up to play, and that is Sorba Thomas. He, right now, if he continues this, could be in intention for Young Player of the Year. He scored once and got 2 assists as well. He created the first 3 goals for Huddersfield in his own way. For Pearson's goal, he delivered a brilliant free kick to find Pearson. And his own goal, I mean, it was a solo goal. It was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, Reading's defence was very, very weak. You know, very, very open and penetrable as well. But take nothing away from Sorba Thomas. It was an unbelievable solo goal, which made it 3-0. And then to make matters worse, they scored straight away from kickoff afterwards when Danny Ward made it 4-0 2 minutes later. I mean, Huddersfield are in 4th. I thought Birmingham being 8th would be my biggest surprise, but I think my biggest surprise is seeing Huddersfield already up in 4th. 3 wins in a row as well. It's absolutely unbelievable. 10 points they've already amassed this season, Huddersfield. That is averaging 2 points a game. They cannot afford to drop this now. Going forward right now, for what I've seen, they look very, very dangerous. What they need to do right now is dictate the play and not to concede chances. I mean, I think Reading, what's shown to this game, they've now got the worst defence in the league. I think Reading are going to be a team that, unless they don't get any more players in, which they don't have a lot of time, I've got to be honest, then I think Reading will be a team that will really, really grind through and struggle this year. Then to a disappointing game at the KCOM Stadium, it ended Hull 0, Bournemouth 0. I mean, Hull will be feeling good that they've kept a clean sheet, but this is now the 4th consecutive game where Hull have not scored a goal. I mean, they only scored 4 goals, and it all came in one match against Preston, didn't it? Bournemouth right now, I mean, I don't know what's gone on with them. I know they've got quite a fair few injuries, and when I look at the chances they had, they should have scored a couple. I mean, England made a mess of themselves, literally giving away the ball straight to Solanke at his own penalty box, and Solanke missed. Good goalkeeping in the end, but both teams had big chances. Hull hit the crossbar at one time, and Bournemouth made so many chances as well. But unfortunately, it was neither team's day, and they just couldn't get a goal. So, yeah, promised a lot in terms of chances, but unfortunately nothing for them. But for Hull to only have 3 shots at home, none on target, not really confident in terms of Hull's attacking sense going forward. For Bournemouth though, they definitely need to try and continue this momentum that they've got, and in terms of their creativity, they just need to improve on their composure, then I think Bournemouth will be okay. And then to another 0-0 draw, we go back to Kenilworth Road. Luton 0, Sheffield United 0. Now this is Sheffield United's 2nd point. They'll be happy that they've now got another point in the ball, but you can't take away from the fact they're still 23rd place and still looking for their 1st win of the season. If you look at this stats, I mean, the difference with Hull and Bournemouth, we actually had one team with a load of chances. This though, 2 shots on target combined from both sides, it's not great at all. I know Luton had a goal disallowed from offside, but that's pretty much as close as we got to a goal, really. Disappointing. I mean, Sheffield United had more of the ball, and they'll be pleased with that front. But really, in terms of creating shots and chances and meaningful chances, both teams really struggled with that. Now both teams have got an international break. I think both these teams especially need to use this international break to work on tactics, to work on their confidence, and to turn into a new team going into the new part of Championship games. And then to a fiery game at the Riverside. Goodness me, it ended Middlesbrough 1, Blackburn 1, which is another score I got right. But wow, did I not expect it to be as dramatic as it was. Sam Gallagher's goal was absolutely brilliant, and I've got to give credit to Ian Poveda. I did think he'd make his debut for Blackburn, and he got assist immediately on his debut. And what a strike it was by Sam Gallagher to come in off the post and in Lumley with no chance. But you've got to give credit to Howson, and especially how they made the attack as well. Duke Steele with a terrific pass to find Howson, and then brilliant composure to loop it over Kaminski to make it 1-1. And I thought Middlesbrough were actually the better team. They had more of the ball, definitely created much more. And this is the 2nd game, for what I know, that Blackburn have only scored with their 1 shot on target. Now, it can work, but the problem is, you know, we saw from Digstill just 1 long through ball, then Blackburn could be cut apart. I think Blackburn need to create more if they want to get more points against. Although, the fact that Blackburn have only lost once in their 5 games, and I think they've done really, really well for themselves, Blackburn, to be honest with you. I think Middlesbrough will be the team a little bit more disappointed for the fact they've created more. They're definitely not as high up in the table as what Blackburn are at the moment. And they'll be disappointed with both red card decisions as well. Carter was sent off for Blackburn for 2 yellow cards, the 2nd yellow card being a little bit harsh, but in the name of the law, I do understand why it was a yellow card. And for Middlesbrough's sake, I mean, they were down to 10 men 2 minutes later, which will definitely frustrate Neil Warnock that they couldn't really use their final 10 minutes to use their numerical advantage. Sam Morsey getting sent off for a straight red. I don't know about that decision, to be honest with you, but because you guys can see it, let me know if you think that is a red card in the comments down below. Personally, when I saw it for the first time, I don't think so. I think if I see it again, I might change my mind. Then we saw Millwall picking up their 1st win of the season with a 2-1 win over Blackpool. Although for Blackpool's part, I do have a little ounce of sympathy for them. They were down to 10 men in the 11th minute of the match, with Connolly getting a straight red card for bringing down Benikovic. I mean, that ruined Blackpool's chances for me. But even with that, somehow, in the 2nd half, despite, you know, being a team on the back foot, against the run of play, they took the lead. What a run by Josh Bowler, literally from his own half, going through that whole midfield. And that Everton connection again. Bowler, to Lavery. It gets into a bit of a mess, but somehow he recovers and shoots it in the net to make it 1-0 to Blackpool. However, fair play to Jed Wallace. A couple minutes later, he scores from a free kick. Typical Jed Wallace goal, that to make it 1-1. And I thought if that was the case, you know, one team who was going to win it, it was going to be Millwall. I probably didn't want a goal because 1-1 was what I predicted in that game. And if I got that right, that would have been 15 points, which would have been amazing. But Jake Cooper had to prove me wrong. And to be fair, it was a brilliant bullet header. I don't think Maxwell couldn't do anything about that. Fair play to Millwall. They picked up their first win of the season. And automatically, now their position on the table doesn't look too bad. But as with Blackpool, still winless. I think they've been a bit unlucky, Blackpool, but what they need to do now, they need to go back into this international break. They need to come back after that international break and really attack the season. They really need to. They've got nothing to lose now. They really need to create more and just be a bit more brave for me. The best is yet to come for me for Blackpool. We've just got to be a little bit patient about their form at the moment. We spoke about Huddersfield being a team who have turned a corner. Are Preston now being a team that have turned a corner from being completely awful at home, to be quite honest with you? They've now managed to win 2 home matches in a row with a 3-1 victory over Swansea. And when I saw Joe Piero score first, it was a brilliant goal by Joe Piero, by the way. I thought it was going to be same old, and Preston were going to bottle and just completely capitulate again. But 2 minutes later, it's just unforgivable for Swansea to give the lead that quickly away. But fair play to Seth van den Berg. Brilliant goal, but very poor defending and poor game management for Swansea overall. And then just before half-time as well, a real killer blow was when Emil Reece-Jacobson managed to get the second goal for Preston just before half-time. That changed the dynamics of the game for me. When he got that goal, I don't think there was really any chance of Swansea potentially getting back into this. And then it got even worse when near the start of the second half, Ben Whiteman scores from a brilliant free kick. Could Bender do better? I don't know. I thought it was actually a really good free kick by Whiteman, which made it 3-1 to Preston. I mean, if you look at the stats, definitely Swansea still playing more on the ball, but in terms of creating chances, look at that, only 2 shots on target to Preston's 6. That is one thing that will definitely let Swansea down. If they cannot address them creating more chances, then it doesn't matter how much of the ball they're going to have. They're going to ultimately struggle, especially if they're all going to be tired, you know, concentrating, keeping on the ball, and they're not going to keep their shape. I think Russell Martin just needs to be a little bit less naive and make sure he gets a system that allows Swansea to score more goals, but for them to be more organised. With Preston, brilliant for the fact they got 2 wins in a row, but now up to 16th in the table. And this was, you know, 2 weeks prior, they were saying Ridsdale out and, you know, saying Preston could be relegated. So if Preston can just recover their home form now, maybe Preston can have maybe a half-decent season, but some cracks have been covered a little bit, you know. It's just going to be interesting to see how Preston recover long-term. To our penultimate game, we see Queen's Park Rangers just continue to amaze people with a 2-0 victory over Coventry. But once again, and I'm going to say the same thing about Coventry, I felt they were the better team, and I felt they definitely should have taken their chances. And before QPR scored their first goal, I thought they were in the back foot. But fair play to Mark Warburton. Getting Lyndon Dykes on as a substitute was brilliant. 8 minutes was all it took for him as a substitute to score his goal. Brilliant strike as well past Simon Moore to make it 1-0 to QPR. And within less than 10 minutes later, Johan Barbe doubled the lead. A bit calamitous defending for Coventry. They couldn't quite clear it. Barbe from about 5 yards out gets it right in the top corner past Moore to make it 2-0. But Coventry once again, if they don't take their chances despite creating a lot, they had 15 shots with 4 on target. And to be fair, pretty close in terms of chances created with these two sides. Coventry shouldn't be disheartened. You know, it's now 2 defeats, but they've actually managed to win all their other 3 games as well. If they can continue creating those chances, but just being more clinical with them, then I think Coventry can be a real team to watch. As a QPR, brilliant start, 3rd place. You know, they've got a huge amount of expectation this season, but they're not letting it fault their progress. And then finally, we end on a really dramatic note as it ended Peterborough 0, West Brom 1 within the 94th minute. Now, one thing I was keeping my eye on was Jordan Hugill. He made his debut for West Brom in this game, and he had some pretty good chances. There was one chance in particular where he had a header which was saved by Pym, and then Ajayi, who was going to be an eventual goal scorer, his rebound shot came off the post. Peterborough disappointed me going forward. I thought at home they should do a little bit better for what they've done as well, especially with this West Brom side, you know, not being the most defensively strong team I have seen in the Championship. But it's pretty much one-way traffic in terms of attack. 19 shots to 5, 3 shots on target to 1 there. It was the 92nd and a half minute, I think, with 5 added minutes. And it was Phillips running on the right-hand side. His cross comes in and Ajayi simply tapped in and made it 1-0 to West Brom. And the celebrations went absolutely wild. And I don't blame them, to be honest with you. It was an unbelievable win for West Brom, especially to clutch it out in the final minute of the game as well. Those are the best wins that you can have. Maybe a little bit undeserved based on performances, but these teams, why they're champions and why they get promoted is that they find a way to win the game even when they're not playing well. And if West Brom are able to do that this early on, then I think it is definitely going to be really tough to catch the likes of Fulham and West Brom. As with Peterborough, their form is really starting to drop. They're now down to 20th. Just get this confidence back at home. I expected them to really attack West Brom for the fact they're at home, because they've impressed me at home, Peterborough, compared to what they have been away from home. But they might feel a bit gutted for the way they conceded that goal as well. I think a point would not have been a terrible result for Peterborough, but I just wanted them to just do a little bit more. So that wraps it up for my review. This is what the table looks like after match day 5 going into the first international break. Fulham and West Brom tied on 13 points. QPR not too far behind them, with Huddersfield, Stoke and Bournemouth the other teams in the top 6. And then you look at the teams still looking for their first win. You've got Blackpool, Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest in the bottom 3. So before I wrap up my Championship review for the first part of the Championship 21-22 season, my goal of the weekend was really tough to pick. But in the end, for the teamwork and just for how it finished, I'm going to give it to Bristol City's second goal against Cardiff. Andre Weimann gets my goal of the weekend. In terms of player for weekend, I think that for the goal contributions, I've got to give it to Sorba Thomas. 1 goal, 2 assists for Huddersfield in their 4-0 victory over Reading. That is my player for weekend, and it's also going to be my result of the weekend. My result of the weekend goes to Huddersfield 4, Reading 0. But that'll wrap it up for my review. If you guys enjoy what you see, please give the video a like. It just tremendously helps. If you have not hit that subscribe button, please do so. It does really help the channel, especially if you do want to see some championships and football content from me. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All that really helps. That'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for Sonny in this video. And as always, I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care.